Middle of August, Sergeant Anderson, who had previously retired from the sheriff's office, he decided to seek employment outside of law enforcement, again, already drawing a law enforcement pension, so he kind of had that ability to do so. Detective Hummel, he had moved his retirement up about 3 years and was able to purchase some time back and was able to go ahead and retire early. Just in just the climate is how I refer to it as the climate of law enforcement across the country. Those two, and then Officer McClure, who is a very valuable asset to our department for 16 years. He has done the same, sought employment outside of law enforcement. And then Officer Lovell, he and his family have recently had the opportunity to purchase a well-established business, private business here in the city of Clinton, and he decided to step out of law enforcement as well.
The chief is reporting good news on the hiring front. He says they have a new officer starting next week with a few prospects that are potentially going to join the force. He is hoping by the start of the new year, they can have most, if not all, of those 4 positions filled.
With that, we have a new hire starting a week from tomorrow. An officer who is a lateral transfer from an agency south of us, recent graduate of the Macon County Law Enforcement Training Center this summer. So we're looking forward to having him on board and a couple other very positive prospective candidates in the works. So, I'm hopeful that by early in 2022, we'll have most, if not all, of those positions filled. And it's not just a simple process like maybe some private business or a restaurant or something where you can apply today and start tomorrow. There's a significant process into doing the background on these candidates and getting them prepared, getting them equipped, getting them prepared. Once they do start, then there's a 6 to 12 week training process and field training with a field training officer. So it's not as simple as sign up today and we can get you started and you're on your own tomorrow. Right. It's a 3 months to anywhere to 9 to 12 month process once an officer is hired to get through all of what it takes to get them equipped and prepared and trained to be on solo patrol.
While the city of Clinton and the other smaller agencies are in a very competitive hiring market and they cannot pay as larger agencies do, they do offer a great departmental culture and a small town community policing environment to work in. Yesterday on Regional Radio News, listeners and readers were introduced to the program BizTown through the Clinton Vault. Connie Unruh with the TS Institute in Clinton leads the program, and on Wednesdays after school, she explains each week offers a new lesson, and students learn the ins and outs of financial management and business management.
Yeah, each week we have a lesson. And we also have a theme for the whole semester, and ours, for the whole year this year, is grit. And how to overcome challenges and have a positive attitude about that. One of the things that we are working on right now is marketing. If you could have the greatest product in the world, but if no one knows about it, it's not going to sell. So we're really getting better at doing things like putting together a unified brand.
Rowan Kaufman is a 13-year-old 7th grader and has learned money management and how to save rather than spend. He's enjoyed his time in BizTown because he gets to go through the program with his friends.
I've learned how to handle money good, I guess, and not waste it all on certain things, and how to save up and how to start your own business if you want to. Most of them I know as friends, so we're all just hanging out pretty much, most part.
Carolyn Peterson is a 12-year-old 7th grader who enjoys the program, especially because it teaches kids how to manage money and gives them early lessons into business management.
It's learning how to make a business, and say if I wanted to, be a banker, then BizTown would teach me how to raise money, how to cooperate with stocks, how to manage money. I kind of really like the whole concept of it, like teaching children how to cooperate with adults and how to save money, how to manage the money, how to start a business. The the whole thing kind of stood out about it.
The theme of BizTown this year is grit. Unruh says the business world can be a great place to learn things like perseverance, resiliency, and resolve.
We've all had issues or things that haven't worked out our way. And so one of the things is the way I react. So my attitude, first of all, will reflect into their attitude. So we've had some things that haven't worked out great, and we just regroup and talk about it. So this didn't work out really well. Maybe we could try this instead. And we do go over the fact that we have to pivot a lot. And that's just how business is. So they really feed off of how Tammy or myself or one of the other volunteers react. And then also we can show them a positive way, like, yes, this is a bummer. This didn't work out the way we wanted to. What can we do different? Well, first of all, the pandemic. And just seeing how resilient the kids really were and still had a really positive attitude. And it showed that for years we've been talking about how these kids have not had the opportunity to fail, or they just quit after they fail, but they didn't even realize that they were succeeding during this pandemic time. They were just changing. They pivot when things weren't working out, and they still had a positive attitude and made things work out. So they were already working on this great concept, but didn't know it. Last year, we had the pandemic, and we were all set to have our bake sale and bazaar in person. And at the last minute, we had to change it because that big uptick in cases right around Thanksgiving, and we did it. And it wasn't awesome, but we did it. And so we celebrate those successes and how we pulled through that. And so that's a lot of what we're doing.
The BizTown students are holding their annual Christmas Bazaar this December. The event is Saturday, December 4th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Get more information by contacting the Vaults at 217-934-4003. On this Veterans Day, Social Security is highlighting the initiatives they take on to make sure those who served our country are taken care of expeditiously. Every year on Veterans Day, Social Security honors the people who risk their lives to protect our country. Jack Myers with Social Security says this is an important resource for military members who return home with injuries. One of the important ways that Social Security honors veterans are by providing expedited processing of their Social Security disability claims.
Every year on Veterans Day, we honor the people who risk their lives to protect our country. And, Social Security is an important resource for military members who return home with injuries. So a lot of times around this time of year, I'll bring up a couple of these things. And I think this year is definitely another good time to do that. What I want to call attention to for people is something that we call our Wounded Warriors webpage. So it's just a part of our website. So if you go to ssa.gov/wounded warriors, you can find answers to a lot of commonly asked questions. The page also is going to share information about our disability benefit programs. I mean, it's just designed to help people who are coming home with injuries to understand the types of benefits that are available to them. But, one of the most important ways that we at Social Security can honor our veterans is by providing expedited processing of their disability claims. And so, this isn't a change in whether or not it's going to be approved. The criteria to qualify for disability is the same across the board for everybody. We can't change that for individual groups of people. But what we do is we actually expedite the claims. So in essence, we kind of put the claims for the veterans who qualify for this up at the front of the line. And
Myers points out they apply this expedited processing for military service members who became disabled while on active military service on or after October 1st, 2001, regardless of where they were when they became disabled. Social Security can also apply expedited processing for veterans who have a VA compensation rating of 100 permanent and total from the Department of Veterans Affairs.
Basically, to qualify for this, you have to be a veteran who became disabled while on active military service on or after October 1st of 2001. And really, it's regardless of where they were when they became disabled. So there's no, criteria that they had to be in a specific war zone or anything like that to qualify for this. You just had to have been on active duty. And then we can also do something similar in terms of expediting the processing for claims for veterans who have a VA compensation rating of 100% permanent and total from the Department of Veterans Affairs, because that's different than Social Security. So if you've got that rating from them, it doesn't mean you're automatically going to be approved for Social Security disability, but it does mean that you would qualify for the expediting of your claim, just like you would under the other wounded warrior thing we were talking about. So it's really just a way for us to say thank you and to, like I said, quite frankly, put their disability claims up towards the front of the list so that we can get them a decision faster.
It is important to note that Social Security disability benefits are different than those from the Department of Veterans Affairs and require a separate application. Myers explains active duty status and receipt of military pay will not necessarily preclude Social Security disability benefits, although a person can't be found disabled and eligible for Social Security disability benefits while they are engaging in substantial work for pay or profit. They can potentially be found disabled if the injury makes them unable to work, even if they are still receiving pay.
I think that sometimes what happens is people apply for, let's say, the VA. That seems to be maybe a little bit more front of mind for veterans. So they'll go through that process of applying for disability benefits, but maybe they don't think about our program. Maybe they don't realize that it's separate, and it is. So, you can apply for and get VA benefits, and then, potentially also get Social Security disability. So they're definitely two separate programs. Please don't forget about ours. If you're unable to work because of a disability, then the Social Security disability program is something you should consider as well. And, one of the things too that's important, Seth, and sometimes the water gets a little murky for veterans along this front, is that you might be still in active duty, and a lot of people know that if you're working full time and receiving full pay for your work, you don't really qualify for Social Security disability because you have to be below the substantial gainful activity earnings level. But what people don't always realize is, sometimes with the military, if you're unable to work, you may still be getting your pay, at least for a while. But if you're not performing any services because you're disabled, the fact that you're getting that pay does not preclude you from drawing or at least applying for Social Security disability. So what we look at is, are you working? Are you physically performing services? And if you're not, then we really don't care about the pay you're getting for the Social Security disability program. So just keep that in mind. The fact that you're getting paid might not preclude eligibility for our program if you're not actually working.
If you are or know a wounded veteran, please check out the Wounded Warriors webpage at ssa.gov/woundedwarriors. It is 23 minutes after the hour here on this Thursday. Rainy in Clinton to start the day. Temperatures right now at 55 degrees. It feels like 52. Plenty more to get to coming up on the WHOW Morning Show.
At Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton and Baum Motor Company in Farmer City, our job is to help you and solve your transportation needs. This is Scott Baum. Both in Clinton or Farmer City, we'll listen and find options for a different vehicle. Or we'll give you repair options to keep that car, truck, or SUV safe and trouble-free so you can continue with your busy schedule. If it has to do with transportation, we're here to help. Visit our full-service team today in Clinton or Farmer City. Baum Chevrolet Buick, right from the start.
It is 24 minutes after the hour here on this Thursday. Again, I'm Seth Lawrence with you folks today for this expanded local newscast. Shares of Rivian Automotive hit record numbers as the highest initial public offering since 2014. With a plant in Normal, the electric vehicle startup company began trading for the first time on the NASDAQ under the ticker symbol RIVN. Common shares began trading at noon on Wednesday at $106.75 and hit a high of $119.38. Kevin Kingston, a financial advisor with Savant Wealth Management, says it's a monumental day for Central Illinois.
Really big news. They're raising something north of $20 billion today through that offering. I think the share numbers were somewhere close to 153 million shares that were issued. And of course, big valuation. When you look at the company valuation in that $80 billion range, exceeds the size of Ford and GM. And a very exciting day today, I would say that, in Bloomington. Obviously, we've seen the benefits of it already with our real estate market. Before Rivian came in, believe it or not, that was 2017. Hard to believe it's been that long. But in the last 2 years, we've seen that they've brought employees into the community and hired new employees. It's really, really helped our residential real estate and even commercial real estate in a very significant way.
At the close on Wednesday, shares popped at 29% from the IPO price of $78 to $100.73. Your Thanksgiving turkey may be costing more this year. Gary Crawford's expert explains why.
Really big news.
And now, it says here we are having a special guest, a famous movie director. How are you, sir? What was your name again?
My name is Alfred Hitchcock.
Oh, yes.
And I would like to tell you of our good friends, the birds.
Oh, that's nice.
We have honored our feathered friends in many ways.
Does that turkey see it that way?
The turkey is traditionally our guest of honor at Thanksgiving.
Well, I suppose you could see it that way. And Thanksgiving is just about here, almost time to go buy that turkey. Now, we're seeing higher prices these days for almost everything, including food. So this statement about the centerpiece of the Thanksgiving meal, or as Hitch put it, our guest of honor, probably won't be a big surprise.
Consumers are going to be likely paying more for turkey this year than they did last year.
Agriculture Department livestock analyst Shale Shagam, he says turkey producers have been gradually reducing production over the last few years because output was growing faster than demand. And so this year's stocks of frozen turkey hens, as we started November, 17% smaller than last year. And so
we're seeing these tight supplies leading to higher wholesale prices.
Back at the end of September, wholesale prices, the prices that grocery stores pay, were the highest on record, $1.44 a pound on average, and that's wholesale, remember. However,
the retailer doesn't necessarily fully pass on the higher wholesale prices.
Well, they try not to.
Thanksgiving is obviously a time when there is a lot of featuring of turkeys. They may treat turkeys in some cases as what we refer to as a loss leader, where they will actually sell it for a lower price than they paid for it, to encourage people to come into the stores and buy things like stuffing and sweet potatoes and cranberries and the usual fixings that one tends to find at Thanksgiving time.
With that in mind, Shale Shagam has scanned some of the advertised grocery store specials on turkey across the country, and here's what he found.
If we just look at the frozen hen turkey that we track, the featuring price as of the week of the 29th of October through the 4th of November, those stores that are offering featuring are offering it an average price of about $1.15 a pound, compared to about 99 cents a pound last year. So we have seen higher prices at retail, even at the featured level, which is reflective of the fact that supplies are tighter and retailers are having to pay more for those turkeys.
Now, we are seeing smaller supplies and higher prices for many products in this country because of so-called supply chain problems and bottlenecks. What about this turkey supply and price situation? Shagam says,
how much of that is reflective of labor issues at various points along the chain, at the ability to move products to market? It's very difficult to find specific instances or points where we're seeing a direct impact on production.
Meanwhile, Shagam says, don't worry, there's not a shortage of turkeys, just a smaller supply, leading to some higher prices. Gary Crawford reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
It is 29 minutes after the hour here on this Thursday morning. Cloudy and rainy in Clinton, 55 degrees, a wind chill of 53 here this morning. Coverage of news is brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters. As we come up on 7:30 here on this Thursday, stay with us for network news, a look at network sports, and a look at local sports. The Packers get good news on the injury front yesterday. We've got a recap of the Bulls and Pacers. They were in action yesterday. Some news out of baseball, and we've got a look at some NASCAR news as well here on the WHOW Morning Show. Stream live online all the time at DeWittDailyNews.com. Again, a look at local sports on the way. Stu Ellis has the farm gate and the markets. All that and more coming up next.